Hello, everyone. My name is John Mark Shaw. What a gorgeous day it is here in New York City area. Wanted to share with you my incredible view that I'm blessed to have. We live in Jersey City, and we are blessed to be able to see the city and the water. And I'm perched here in my favorite spot today, thinking about wanting to share with you something really important around our self-image and our self-esteem and our self-worth. One of the things that I've really come to understand from experiences I've had in my life, and also even recently, was that most of us were trained, myself included, that our value comes from what we do in the world, what we achieve, how much money we have, how we look, who we associate with, our accomplishments, our achievements, that our value, our worth, is dependent upon circumstances that are outside of us, the things that we do, how others perceive us. Whether we've achieved great things in the world, whether we have a great job, who we're associated with, who we're married to, what we've accomplished in terms of our education, our certificates of accomplishment in other areas, the amount of money that we make or that we have in the bank. And most of us, myself included, have come to believe that our worth and our value and our image is dependent upon external circumstances, conditions, our bank account, our level of success, how well we did this week. I find myself and many of my clients coming to the end of the week and thinking about, well, I didn't eat so well, or I didn't get to the gym that much this week. I only went once instead of the 3 or 4 times I like to go. And so as a result of not feeling that they've done not such a good job, they wind up getting down on themselves. So they score themselves a B or a C for the week. Well, how are you? How is your week? Well, I didn't do so well this week. So my self-image and my value is wrapped up in the scorecard, or the, we get the report card from school based on how well we did on different subjects. And I think we learn as adults to go back to that model. So I got to the gym a certain number of times. And likewise, if we feel like we got to the gym 3 or 4 times like we wanted to, and we had some successes at work and we got a raise, now we're feeling good about ourselves. Now we are feeling confident and worthy, and now our self-image and our self-esteem goes up, and we feel better and happier. And so while it's amazing and super important to celebrate our achievements in life, what it does is raise to the surface the idea of, where does our value come from? And are we always basing our value in the world on our circumstances, our conditions, on what is outside of us, and on our accomplishments? So I recently went to my 30th Stanford reunion, and I was blessed to be able to go to that school and to have the experiences there. And one of the things that they talked about at the reunion was the idea of an imposter syndrome that happens when you go to a school like that. There's tons of amazing, successful, brilliant people, very accomplished people. And so what happens is you start to maybe doubt that you're worthy, that you don't really belong there, and you start to compare yourself and despair at other people's achievements. A lot of people, we had at that school Olympic athletes and world-class scientists and billionaire business people in Silicon Valley. And so returning to Stanford, I re-understood, or I was reminded of this idea that oftentimes we look to the outside, to our accomplishments, and even at school when we're in college, how well did you do on a test? What are your grades? Turns into how much money are you making? What job? What status? What's your title? Are you an executive vice president, or are you a chief executive officer? And so we become dependent on those things in order to feel better about ourselves. And that we understand that when we're surrounded by people, oftentimes we will compare ourselves to them and say, well, I must be better or worse than that person. It's all about ego. I have a better title and I make more money, so I'm better. And so I'll feel good about myself in that comparison. But then with the comparison with another person, I might feel not so good. I might feel less than. You know, they're more successful. They're better looking. They've aged better. They're in better shape. You know, they have a happy, successful marriage. You know, if somebody didn't have one, or something like that. And so we're comparing ourselves to externals and judging ourselves based on our resume, our achievements, our bank account, you know, our job status. And so one of the things that I realized today in working with one of my clients, and we were both working on this issue, is what if it was possible to actually feel good about yourself at the end of the week, regardless of how many times you got to the gym, how much money you made, whether you had a success or a failure in business, whether you were the person that you wanted to be in every meeting. Maybe you fell short, you lost your temper, maybe you didn't get to the gym, you were a little down, maybe you lost a client or a business opportunity, maybe you got fired from your job, you know, or some negative things happened in your experience. You got a big bill, you lost some money in the stock market, which a lot of people are going through right now. It's a very tricky market right now. I have a hedge fund client who is facing the challenges of this incredible, you know, difficult time in the market. And so, do I decide that I'm less of a good person this week because I didn't get to the gym, or I didn't do well in the stock market, or I didn't have an achievement, and so I feel less good about myself, and I am less willing to decide that that I have value. So, you know, I'm not as good. I'm not as worthy. I don't have as high self-esteem, and my image of myself is very fluctuating. It goes up and down based on whether, you know, what my circumstances are, what my short-term results have been, whether I had a good or a bad week, got to the gym, made money or didn't make money in the stock market. All of a sudden, it's very dependent on externals. And so what I want us to really think about and lean into right now is the possibility that your value and your self-esteem and your self-image is unconditional. It is not condition-based. You have value because you are breathing, because you're an infinite spiritual being, that you are one with the one universe, God, source, that we have been given this incredible gift of a human birth, and that we are here and we are infinitely and unconditionally worthy of great things, that the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, wants us to reap and to enjoy and to enjoy the benefits, that we are the sons and the daughters of the Most High, and that we deserve abundance and happiness and health and wellness and success, and we are valued. We are infinitely beautifully made, and our sense of ourselves and our love and appreciation of ourselves can be more stable, does not have to be based on our circumstances, our conditions, our temporary results, our report card for the week. And what if we could actually move into the possibility that we decide our value, that we decide and we know that we are value, we have value, we are worthy of great things, that we are infinitely and unconditionally deserving, that we are infinitely and unconditionally worthy, that we have self-esteem and self-love, that we have a strong self-image, regardless of circumstances, regardless of who said what to us or didn't, whether we got to the gym, whether we gained a few pounds, whether we ate too much sugar on Halloween like I did, whether we have the bigger house than the other person, or whether we have the nicer car, or whether we are an executive vice president or a chief executive officer, or if we're just a person, or if we're just, you know, or if we're just something else that seems less than. What if we can love ourselves and accept ourselves and believe in ourselves and have a self-image that is stable? That's brave thinking. That's moving away from what's called common hour thinking by Emerson and Thoreau. Common hour thinking is my value is dependent upon the circumstances, how much money I have, what my job title is, how well I performed this week, that it's based on performance and achievement. And so we, as good young students, we go to a school and we get a report card and we consider ourselves an A if we get an A on the test and not an A if we don't get an A. It's possible to live a life where we believe that we are worthy, that we love and accept ourselves regardless of circumstances, regardless of whether we gained a few pounds, whether we have a lot of money in the bank. And actually what happens is that as we stabilize our self-image and our self-esteem, we start to love and accept ourselves, to not grade ourselves, to decide that we always deserve an A in terms of our self-worth, our value, our self-love, our self-esteem, and our self-image, that we are always an A, that we don't have to do well on a test or pass some test in our lives or make money that week or win instead of lose, but that our self-image and our self-esteem is stable. It's rooted in self-love and unconditional love, unconditional self-acceptance, unconditional worthiness. And in our unconditional worthiness, that starts to change our circumstances. We become a vibrational match to more success, more love, more money, because we are no longer wobbly on the frequency of what we're projecting into the world. We're no longer waiting for success to decide on the outside, to decide that we're a worthy people, that we are worthy of great success, that we have a high sense of ourselves and self-esteem. And when we can achieve unconditional self-worth, unconditional self-esteem, and an unconditional confident self-image of self-love and self-acceptance, when we can do more and more of that, our lives will transform around us. We will begin to have the things and do the things and be the person that we are longing to be, and more money and more success and more abundance will show up. Not because our self-image is reliant on those things coming, but actually because we know ourselves to be infinitely and unconditionally valuable and worthy. And so because we hold that, we are broadcasting that frequency, and therefore a life that is in alignment with that belief and knowing will show up for us. We can decide in advance that we are valuable, that we are worthy, that we are an A. And then when we decide we achieve that we are worthy of an A, regardless of circumstances and temporary achievement, that's when our lives transform and we grow. We become the larger self, and then that life around us grows. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this time as I have. It has been infinitely a blessing to me to serve you and to share my thoughts. If you'd like to hear more, please email me at john@johnmarkshaw.com. Thank you.